We're looking at our model 3234 tube end forming machine. This machine will flange both ends of the tube simultaneously. This machine is designed to produce by AMH. We're looking at the clamp assembly, and on either end of the clamp assembly we have the forming dies. We're looking at the A station die on the right, H station die on the left. The cycle is run by 2 palm buttons. If you release the palm buttons, the cycle will stop. This is for the safety of the operator. Most of the sequences that take place with this machine in the forming and the clamping are done or controlled by proximity switches. Here we're looking at the proximity switches on the clamp assembly. Here we're looking at the proximity switches on the die positioning block. And over here we have the proximity switches for the stroke of the form cylinder. These proximity switches are identical from the right to the left. This unit has about 60 gallons oil reservoir. It's powered by a 15 horsepower motor and 2 hydraulic pumps in tandem. The system is protected by a series of relief valves to protect the cylinders and the valves. We're looking at right now the filter, the drain filter. This is a relief valve for the tube ejection cylinder, which has a maximum pressure rating of 1000 psi. And we're looking at 2 inline check valves in order to reduce the pressure to that hydraulic cylinder. Here is a series of the hydraulic solenoid valves. Each cylinder has its own valve. Now we're looking at the tube ejection cylinder. When the clamp opens up, this tube ejection cylinder will advance and break the tube loose from the clamp assembly with a wedge that's mounted on the dies. All the valves are mounted on manifold assemblies, and right now we're looking at the hydraulic relief valve that controls the forming and the clamping pressure on all the hydraulics for this particular valve. Here's the other manifold that has its own relief valve as well. This equipment is supplied with 2 tandem pumps at 7 GPM each. The system pressure is rated at 3000 psi. We have a 15 horsepower motor, AC. It operates rotation-wise at 1750 RPMs per minute. We're looking at now the tube stop assembly that is operated by an air supply. We're looking at a proximity switch that will start the cycle when the clamp closes. If this proximity switch is not made, no cycle will start. Should the tube stop be in harm's way and this proximity switch were not made, you would destroy the tube stop arm. This is the tube stop arm. This is the air valve that controls the tube stop cylinder. This is the air supply for the system. We're looking at the clamp assembly now. There's a tube placed inside the part at the moment. On the left side and the right side there are clamp die, upper and lower. These are hardened tool steel in order to protect them from mushrooming or wearing. You can see in the center here, this is the wedge that will eject the tube after forming. Now we're looking at the forming dies. The A station is the flare, the B station is the flange. We're looking at the clamp cylinder. This cylinder will generate approximately 30 tons of clamping forces. Looking at the dies again, these dies, changing the right dies in there, you can run various lengths of tube from 11 inches to 18 inches. Now we're looking up at the control system, and this control system has a PLC, and there are
spring-loaded three-position switches.
yeah, there's switches for every cylinder on the system, and all are positioned in the automatic mode. To run it manually, you simply turn it left or right, and it always spring-loaded to return to center. Here's emergency stop button. If something goes wrong, hit that mushroom button and the system shuts down. So to get ready, we're looking at the tube that's pre-formed, not formed at the time, it's straight. Okay, now we're going to load the part. Okay, now we're getting ready to run a part. We're looking at a straight tube that's not formed yet. He's going to place it in. Now we're going to place the tube inside the tube stop, the clamp and the part, the machine, and run a part up against the tube stop. Press the palm button, hold them down. Tube stop will remove itself. First stage flares, second stage clamp. Cycle's over. Okay, Rick, go ahead. Cycle complete. Okay, now we're going to, at a different angle of it, we're going to run another part and time it and see how long it takes. Put the tube inside the machine, hit the two palm buttons. Now we'll see both cylinders complete. It's taken approximately 7 seconds to run this part complete. First stage, we're looking at some parts that are not formed and formed parts. Okay, now we're going to run a series of parts just to see how the machine operates in production. That's just some chatter we're getting in the lines. See, after the form, there's a little jump on the tube. That's a tube ejecting cylinder, breaking it loose from the bottom clamp. That thump you hear on the last form cycle, which is the flange, there's a timer that overrides the proximity switch that allows the pressure to build up so that we can coin the flange portion of the form operation.